goes to sleep.
Joining me now are Susan Page, Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today, Steve McMahon, the Democratic strategist, and Matt Schlapp is chairman of the American Conservative Union. There's something in the air. I heard it this weekend up with a bunch of Democrats in Massachusetts this weekend. I'm reading something this morning. Somebody's got $1 million bounty out for Hillary's health records. The Trump's talking about, Sean Hannity's ranting on this topic. What's going on? You get a smell out there what the Republicans are up to on this health thing. Steve.
Well, I mean, they're getting desperate. And they're
what are they on to this? Why are they on the health? What do they know? Is there something we don't know in the health records? Something that could change this election around?
No, there's no indication that there's anything like that. This was something that was thrown out there as a canard about a year or so ago. That Hillary Clinton had somehow had strokes or something, and it's ridiculous. And what happens is when a campaign appears failing and they make charges that don't seem credible at all, it actually reflects more on the person making the charge.
Well, is it smart to make a charge like this if they know it's not going to be proven true? I mean, it's smart if they can lead into something actually coming out, or they can force some information out of their medical records. Why would they go into a wall on this? Why would they say something will be demonstrably proven wrong within a matter of weeks?
Because Donald Trump and his campaign, they don't think beyond the next news cycle, and they're just desperate and grasping for straws, and you can see it.
Susan?
Well,
why are they pushing this button? Because we're going to show you Hannity here, who's relentless on this.
Well, and Donald Trump actually has been pretty clever through the primaries in finding some weakness in an opponent, giving him a nickname that, in
fact,
Low-energy Jeb is a good, little Marco. But this one seems kind of outrageous, doesn't it? She traveled 1 million miles as Secretary of State. She
had a sleeping bed in the plane. Yeah, we'd like to have that bed. I'd like that bed.
Yeah, she keeps a perfectly full campaign schedule.
What's this bounty of $1 million? Have you heard this story?
I have, and I look.
What's it about? A guy wants to drop $1 million to find out. Obviously, she's not going to give her medical records to this guy. But what's that about?
It's fair in the sense that she's pushing Donald Trump very hard on his failure on tax returns. He's going to push her back on her weakness. And the second thing,
is it a weakness, or you just drop that on us?
I think what's fair is to say is, look, when you sit in green rooms in TV studios, Democrats often say, and people in the press often say, hey, she's awfully hard. She's not very available. He's very available. He's too available. It's hard to get her on our shows. It's hard to get her.
Does that mean she's hiding her ailments?
I don't know, but she's certainly behind some kind of veil, and I think there's a little bit of a cynicism.
I like the way you dropped this in here.
You know what? Perfectly legitimate to say she doesn't do news conferences. She hasn't done a real news conference since December. That's a perfectly fair line of attack.
But
saying that reflects ill health, I just don't see the linkage.
When's the last time she did that?
Did what?
Ask for the questions ahead of time.
She went to a grammar school and asked for the questions ahead of time. She did a press conference, but in front of a fair press pool. Do a real one. Come on. If she's so far up, and this is such a cakewalk, go let it all hang out.
Keep working on that one. That's a good. I know that there's something to that about asking for the question ahead of time.
If I'm not mistaken, Hillary Clinton's doctor put out something that addressed this some time ago.
Put out all the records.
And I don't think that there's anything. There's nothing to see here, as the police would say.
I think Roosevelt's doctor probably did, and Jack Kennedy's. They always put out those records.
Look, if people aren't going to believe what a doctor says, then what's the point of putting anything out?
We'll put out the records, and then we can see.
Ever since it was reported in 2012 that Clinton suffered a fall in her Chappaqua home, conspiracy theories have been pushed about the former secretary's health. Sean Hannity, as I said, of Fox News, has invited doctors to try to speculate Clinton's alleged medical conditions based on video and photographs of the candidate. Here's a clip from last week.
Was there a possibility she had a mini stroke, a TIA? Absolutely. What do you think, Doctor? You believe that?
Well, the picture that you showed as she's going up the stairs speaks a million words. So is she really fatigued? Is she dehydrated? One of the main reasons why she fell in 2012 and had the concussion was severe dehydration. They're holding her and going up the stairs, so she may be really dehydrated. She may have arthritis. She may have back pain. She may have fallen again that we don't know. So there are a lot more questions that's unanswered.
Okay, there's a thing in the paper today, in the Times today, called the Goldwater Rule. Stop giving diagnosis about somebody you've never met. Anyway, the Canada speculation, Clinton's doctor, her own doctor, last year, as you say, gave her a clean bill of health, reporting that she's in excellent physical condition and fit to serve as president of the United States. That's a pretty strong statement. So this isn't real, or this is real?
She should put her records out. Put your medical records out. No, not a doctor, not your own personal doctor saying, oh, everything's fine.
Returns. How about a summary of...
Okay, no, this is...
You don't get it both ways.
Both.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, look, this is the way this conversation is going to go. This is the way this conversation is going to go. And Hillary Clinton's doctor has put out a statement about her health and her fitness.
As John Kennedy's doctor said, he didn't have Addison's disease.
I don't recall Donald Trump's accountants saying he paid any taxes. And in fact,
let's see his
people
taxes.
are saying Donald Trump didn't pay any taxes. So
let's see it all.
Let's see it all. Let's bring it all.
I love that. Let's see it all.
Go.
So what are you hiding? Why do you want to go to the tax returns? Why don't you say, put up the
I don't think Donald Trump paid a penny in taxes.
What's that got to do with this?
We're talking about her health. We talk about Donald Trump all day long.
They could both be hiding something. Who knows? Anyway.
We're talking about transparency.
When people, never mind. We'll see. Anyway, Politico reports that the Clinton campaign is already preparing for the worst from Trump, especially when it comes to the face-to-face political combat of the presidential debates themselves. Quote, the person picked to be Hillary Clinton's sparring partner in her upcoming debate prep sessions is expected to confront her about the death of Vincent Foster, label her as a rapist enabler, and invoke the personally painful memories of Monica Lewinsky and Jennifer Flowers. Close quote. Trump hasn't shied away from attacks, of course, like these in the past. Here's what he said at his campaign rally this Saturday.
Her husband, Bill Clinton, who, by the way, remember what he said? He did not have sex with that woman. Then a couple of weeks later, oh, you got me. Oh, I'm so glad they kept the dress. I'm so glad they kept that dress. All right? It's great. You know why? Because it shows what the hell they are.
You know, Susan, there was a sense not too many years ago when you wouldn't talk about the dress the way he just did. You know, because we're really talking about DNA evidence and the whole routine. It's hard to believe there's a corner of the unpleasant he's not willing to go into.
Oh, I think that you have to assume
debates.
that assuming we have debates, that he will bring up these issues. And I don't think the attack by him is particularly perilous because we've had these attacks before. They didn't even keep Bill Clinton, The Clintons
are very good at SDI. When you come in on those ones,
right,
they always make you look bad.
But the question is, does she, her response, it's not the attack. Can she respond in a way that is serious and thoughtful, doesn't look too defensive, deals with it and gets rid of it, makes the issue, him asking the question? That is harder than you'd think to do, and it's not something she's had to do in the past because these are not issues that Democratic primary opponents were going to raise in their
debate. Steve, how would you play it? How would you play it if you were a debate challenger? If you had to play the sparring partner, how would you do it? Would you come in like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say? What about Monica? You knew about it, didn't you? You didn't know about it. You didn't know about it. You didn't know about it. I don't think she did know about it myself, but
I would say all of that. I would talk about, you know, all the scandals that we're all very, very familiar with, and I would keep coming at it again and again and again, because at the end of the day, he knows he's not going to be able to throw her off on substance. She knows it so cold and so well. But these are the kinds of things, and it's not going to be what he says. It's going to be, as Susan points out, how she reacts. I've
never seen her blow up. If you win a debate or anything, she doesn't tend to have that kind of I would be a little more likely to blow up, but she doesn't seem like she blows up.
She can be a little stern, which is appropriate in some of these circumstances. And I think how she plays it is going to be the most important thing.
She's not going to do a Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth, is she? She's not going to do that. Like it never seems to happen. Those Perry Mason moments where you go, you can't handle the truth. They always say, oh, I have a. They quibble. That's what they do.
Look, these questions of the scandals are they're right in people's mind, because if you look at the Bernie Sanders, part of his appeal was she's part of the past. She owns Washington. She's scandal after scandal. Everyone's in her pocket. And I think the fact is this: does it play into the now? What's going on now with the Clinton Foundation? What's going now with how she was Secretary of State, where she said there'd be a wall between the foundation and her being Secretary of State? And then we find out she has employees that are dual-hatted. That's not really a very good wall.
You're right about one thing.
So she made a mistake. The red lines, don't draw a red line unless you mean it for yourself.
That's right.
Don't give it to somebody else to use against you.
That's right. And the fact is that it plays into the past. I don't think Trump should hit on the past. He should hit into the present. We all know about the past, and it ain't pleasant.
But what we also know about the past
is it ain't her fault to use the American.
You know what? It's not just the sex stuff. All the question about everything she's done in office, from the missing Rose, law firm records, to the $1,000 cattle futures. No, I'm saying don't lead with it. We all know this. We all know this.
It's $100,000, and it was in the boxing room. The paper showed up. I have one problem with it from the past. It's not evil necessarily, but it's the part of politics I don't like. It's the fundraising, the Motel 6 stuff, the using the White House as a fundraising stunt, having these people come in, live stay at the Lincoln bed, and all the money they raised. It was, to me, irreverent.
What about all the pardons on the way out the door? That wasn't so great.
You mean Mark Rich? You got a problem with that?
There was dozens.
But here's the thing. Every one of these things is already reflected in the value of the stock. And by the way, the sins of her husband are not the sins of Hillary Clinton. And Donald Trump needs to be pretty careful here, because he may offend women even more than he already has if he goes down the wrong path the wrong way.
Life too.
She might just
do that.
She should.
I'm not any more responsible for my husband's behavior than you are, than Ivana was for yours.
She's not gonna.
How's that for one?
She's not gonna do that.
She won't get dirty?
No, I mean, if she has us standing here, talk about what affects Americans. Let's not.
You know, Susan, I just don't see it working
personal.
for them. That is old. We've been doing this for 30 years. We're tired of all that.
Well, let me tell you one thing that works in politics was the attack from the defensive position. People do root for the person under attack. Just we do as a country root for the underdog. And when somebody is seen going at you because you're behind the polls, they go, wait a minute, let's see what she has to say. And there's a tremendous prejudice toward the person playing defense. Remember Reagan? There you go again. We root for the guy that's under attack. Anyway, the New York Times today, talking about a game changer, reported that Roger Ailes, until recently, of course, the chairman of Fox News, has been advising Trump and will play a role in his debate prep this fall. As the Times notes of Ailes, he is deeply familiar with the Republican lines of attack against Mrs. Clinton and with the controversies that have surrounded her and her husband going back to their days in the White House. The Trump campaign disputes the story's accuracy, which is always a way of disputing it, saying they are longtime friends, but he has no formal or informal role in the campaign. Okay, that Ailes has a long history of advising many successful candidates dating back to Richard Nixon. In 1988, he famously prepped George Herbert Walker Bush for an explosive confrontation with CBS's Dan Rather on live television. Let's watch this moment in history.
I want to talk about why I want to be president, why those 41% of the people are supporting me. And Mr. Vice President, these questions are judge a whole career. It's not fair to judge my whole career by a rehash on Iran. How would you like it if I judged your career by those 7 minutes when you walked off the set in New York? Well, now, would you like that?
That was called a showstopper. And that was Roger Ailes advising the vice president at that time, if you want to take on a sparring partner, take on the liberal Dan Rather, beat him in the preliminaries, and you'll look very good taking on Mike Dukakis. It was brilliant politics.
And you know it was planned.
Yeah.
You know he didn't think about that on the fly.
He had the sign up, tennis match. Roger's holding the sign up for Bush to go to. He also prepped Reagan on I won't use my opponent's youth and inexperience against him.
Great line.
In the Mondale debate, he gave Nixon the great idea to have those faux debates, remember, those hour-long sort of debates with people like Bud Wilkinson moderating it, the coach of Oklahoma, and Ed Brooks sitting in the first row, mixing up the audience. Matt,
well, first
is Ailes going to matter here?
I think so. The fact is this, Ailes and
He's
Trump,
got his own situation, but is he going to help with this one?
Ailes and Trump are friends for decades. They talk a lot. I don't care whether it's formal or informal. This makes Republicans and conservatives very happy. He's a shrewd operator. The fact that he might be talking to Donald Trump about how he handles his first debate is just music to all of our ears.
You know, who are you betting on the first debate?
Who am I betting on? With the largest audience in the history of politics?
Who you bet wins?
Trump needs it. I think he's going to perform. I think he'll have a good night.
Hillary's going to win.
The challenger tends to win. Not a power guy tends to win.
Roger Ailes is not going to make any difference for Donald Trump, just as every other parade of professionalism.
Come on, give him a break. He's pretty good. You got to give him a break.
Paul Manafort knows what he's doing, and Donald Trump rejects every single thing that Paul Manafort and the people around him ask him to do.
But you know what might be different this time? Not only does Ailes have a lot of expertise, he probably has Trump's ear on this. And he might be somebody Trump would actually listen to in this situation.
That's right.
You know, Ailes has been there. I'll tell you.
He's been there.
He's been there. He's good.
Got all the other stuff. I'm not here on that. But I'll tell you, when it comes to prepping people, anti-establishment mentality is the very heart of that guy. And the chance to take down a Clinton is rich. Anyway, thank you, Susan Page. Thank you for your partisanship, Matt Schlapp for your reasonableness and some partisanship. Coming up, Donald Trump, that's why you're here, says he'll vigorously